Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Intermission. I believe we are on our sixth episode. That's a lot. That's a lot. We're already on number six. I am your host, Chandler Edwards, and I'm here with,
You're the co-host, Richie Fiakovic.
and we have another special guest for you today. He is here, and he's in this right now. Today is the day of the audition for our upcoming show that we'll speak about later. But introduce yourself.
Hey, Carter Pantheano here.
It's Carter. All right. Hi, Carter. How are you?
Good, how you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. I'm tired. But
Very.
we know that long weekend's about to come up, so probably get a lot of rest. So let's start off with some questions. How did you first get into theater?
Yeah. Theater was definitely a very interesting sort of thing for me. You know, coming from public school, there wasn't a lot of, not a lot of opportunities for things like that. Even our music program was very limited. And even coming to Stepinac, I didn't do a lot. Freshman year was a very flew by quick, didn't do a lot. And then sophomore year hit, and I had met some friends, and I met this girl, and they all were like, oh, you should really, really join our chorus. And so I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And so I did. And then shortly after, you know, a lot of the chorus kids, when you join chorus and then the fall play and the musical comes around, Ms. Bott, the music director, often, would you like to join? Because a lot of those kids, now that she knows that they have the ability to sing, you know, that's a prime candidate to join. So, I was also asked along with them, to which I didn't do the play. I showed up because I had a lot of friends there and, wanted to be there to support, but I didn't do it. And then the Wiz came around and I finally worked up the courage to give it a shot, which was great because I got to do some on stage with my role as one of the mice and being able to have some lines.
Oh, yeah.
And then also getting to do exactly some of the backstage ensemble for the show, working with those people. It was a good experience. Got to get a good idea of it.
You know, it's funny, just the other day I was trying to think of who you were in The Wiz, and I think I forgot about that entire scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's honestly, it wasn't one that I was excited about, I didn't love having a role play as a mouse with the tail and the ears and the funny poses, but it all came out really good and it was fun.
It was your first role. You can't really complain that much.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, if you guys didn't know, the show was announced and it is Come From Away. So, do you know any of the characters in that show?
Yeah. Yeah, no, in terms of the show, the characters that you can play, I watched it the day we got found out. I don't know them all by name. I know so the thing with Come From Away is that the show itself is very much a lot of swapping hats, if you will, literally and figuratively, where it's an ensemble-based show. The cast is pretty much on stage for most of it. Like, they don't leave, they come on and off very, very briefly, not very often. And what it comes down to is each character plays 2, 3, maybe even 4 different characters that have different names, different personalities, different this and that, and all they do is change accessories. So you'll have a character that might play a native Newfoundlander, which is where the show takes place, and then he'll also be playing a member of a gay couple from the plane that landed, or he will also be playing another member, a Muslim man that was also flying on the plane, and so he'll change his hat or his jacket or different aspects. And so, while there's not a lot of name characters, there's a lot of different people that act.
Okay, so before people listening get way more confused than they probably already are, the whole plot behind the show, if you're not familiar, is that it takes place during the 9/11 attacks, and it's kind of following the perspective of all the planes that were going to New York, and they got rerouted to this place in Newfoundland, which was a tiny, tiny area to the point where just the amount of people coming in from planes practically doubled the population. Or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So it should be very entertaining, very light set tech-wise. I'm curious what we're gonna end up doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the gist of the story. Before, you're thinking, why does he have to be in a gay couple and a Muslim man, and what does any of this have to do with each other? So
yeah, there's a lot of different characters in this show.
They do a good job of exploring the relationships and the dynamics of 9/11, where there's a lot of these little social, what's the word I'm looking for? tensions, if you will, a lot of the different social tensions between different groups, different ethnicities, different sort of different people. And what it comes down to in the show is the relationships that all these different people all these different people, right? They come from different places. They have different personalities, ethnicities, interests, and it follows the relationships that they make with the townspeople and how it's this journey of acceptance that they kind of go through, where everybody realizes, like, I can sort of be who I am along with all of these new people and make all these new friends who care about me for me. And it's their friendships that they make while they've kind of been stranded in Newfoundland, Canada, while on a seemingly normal flight across the country.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Come From Away is like it's basically a show about the community.
Yes, very much so.
And you're a part of a whole different community than us. You have a whole different perspective on theater than we do. Because for the past episodes, we've been talking about from a stage perspective on how the shows are run. From a cast member's perspective, what do you like? How do you like prepare yourself to like go on stage, go out there and like do your role? Because we like stay there for hours. We do like runs and we do all these different things right before the show starts, and I know it's tiring and exhausting, but when that opening night like comes, what do you do to prepare yourself to go on stage and be in character?
Yeah, great question. It's something that I'm still new to myself. I always get, you might think, oh, these actors, they get no nerves, no stress, they're fine. No, like we very much get extremely nervous. And it really comes down to just being able to perform under that pressure. And so to do that, you not only need to really just be confident in your stuff, know your lines by heart, know your songs, know your cues, know your blocking, know all these things. And then also just being able to relax and know that you're there for fun. And even if you mess up a lot of the times with these shows, while we are definitely taking inspiration from the Broadway shows, we're modifying it. We're making it our own. And so what it comes down to is the people that are there to see you, they don't know what you're supposed to do. So it helps to know that if you mess up, they don't know that you mess up. So you keep going. And as long as you can work off of that, you're able to perform. And that helps to build up that confidence that you need in general to not be stressed out and to be able to go on stage and perform your best.
Cool. Nice. So when you do perform these shows, no matter what show it is,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want the audience to take away from any production that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think of all the things that they could take away is to come away with the fact that the show that we put on was a great show. That's what I always want to hear is, I find that here at Stepinac, I take pride in the fact that we put on such great shows. And to me, that's like my favorite thing is to hear like, that was an amazing show. And especially to get those reactions from people like myself who, when I came and I saw the first show, like, I like to see those reactions of people who have never been to a Stepinac show that then understand the caliber of show that we put on, right? Because when I came to see Catch If You Can, me and my mom came because I had 2 friends in the show freshman year. I said, let me go see it. And we were just blown away. We had no idea what to expect, but it absolutely exceeded the expectations. And that reaction is what I love to get from the people that I see, is those ones that have never seen it, that are like, oh my God, that was amazing. I can't wait to come see the next show. Like that's my favorite reaction that they can take away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like some of it is felt crew side as well, because we really, less people are talking about, oh, that lighting change is really good. Oh, that prop is really cool. Or like that set piece is really cool. But still, it is our show between cast and crew. And, any sort of praise is always like, oh, really? You liked it?
Yeah, I get a lot. I get this guy who comes back every single show, comes back to the soundboard. He always says, I love what you do with the lights. I don't do lights at all, but it's still a compliment because it's a crew.
It's the small things. You appreciate it.
Small things, yeah. There are a bunch of people upstairs right now getting ready for their auditions. New people coming back. Some people coming back. And do you have any advice for the new actors and actresses
Mm-hmm.
coming to hopefully, be a part of Stepinac
Mm-hmm. I feel like I can give decent advice to this because I'm both very new to this, having only started last year, yet I also sometimes feel seasoned because all of my friends have been doing it for so long. So I'm a part of this community that's both so used to it, yet also I myself am so new to it. And so what I would like to say to those sort of people is just sort of have fun with it. You obviously you got to work on your technique, and there's going to be things you're not great at, whether it's the singing, the dancing, the lines. There's going to be bumps in the road, but it's important to just have fun and sort of go with the flow, because with Stepinac Productions, I'm sure you guys are so used to it, like things can change in a moment's notice. The communication might not be there some days. Sometimes the director might not even show up, and so you really just gotta, go with the flow, enjoy the experience, and really focus on the memories that you can make during it, because I think that's where it's most at. Is the show is good, but it's also just having fun, making the memories, making friends, enjoying the time that we have here.
From the shows you've been a part of, what's your favorite like scene you've done?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So of the ones, what have I been a part of? I will be a part of Come From Away coming up. I've been a part of The Wiz, 12 Angry Men, and unofficially so The Outsiders. I would say of all of them, one of my favorite scenes. That is a hard one. Um, it's probably gonna have to come from The Wiz, just because that one is really one of the ones I felt I was most heavily involved. With 12 Angry Men, I had a small role, wasn't there one of the nights. Outsiders, I wasn't a huge part of it, so I think probably The Wiz. And from that, it's gonna have to be, I believe it was Everybody Rejoice, was just fun for me because it was at a time where it was my first time really being on stage, dancing, performing, singing, doing a large choreographed dance. And I think if you ask a lot of actors, that's going to be one of their favorites, is when you get to be on stage with everybody, I think that was the biggest dance we had. That was the most cast members. And that was a lot of fun just because you got to do it with everybody. Everybody, you got to be there with your friends. You got to move around on stage and really just put on a beautiful spectacle for everybody to see. And even in that one too, what was great was the costume change into that was one of my favorites. I know it was a pain for you guys because we had to just throw our things onto the side and pray for the best. But for us, that was so fun because you had to work on getting all the yellow underneath and then wearing that purple cloak so nobody could see it. And then right when the scene came, just taking it all off, and all you could see was the bright yellow clothing that you had to just sort of emulate that brand new day feeling of breaking free of the Queen's grasp and becoming your own person. That one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's funny you have that as like a highlight, especially if you're into, I mean, it's a short career, but if your entire career in drama or in theater, because that was a tough scene on the crew. That was between Chandler, I'd say especially between myself, James, and Chandler. I'll let Chandler talk his piece after, but James is the guy who calls the show, so he's the one up in the booth saying, stand by cue, 1, go, 2, go, 3, go. And I, really, during the shows, I have probably the easiest job in the whole building. I just press a button when James says go. But that scene, even for me, that was a tricky scene because there were just so many cues in succession. And most of them probably you didn't even notice because we did. It looks like it could have all been just one big sequence, but no, every little change was another press of the button. I know it was especially high stress for James. I remember the first time we ran it, Mr. Moser, again, shout out to him. We've talked about him enough, but he calls the goes during Tech Week and Hell Week, and I remember the first time we did that scene. Locked in on it, and then it finally stops, and James is looking at me with this expression of probably the perfect mix of sheer being just petrified and also just like surprised, and it was so funny. Honestly, I have a lot of good memories of sitting at that tech table with them, just, since even though we have to be there and we're paying attention, especially when we get to the repeating the same scenes over and over, like any teenage guy would with his best friend, we'd be, goofing around, not too distractingly, but, we would, we had a notepad that we ended up just writing on for communication so we didn't have to whisper to each other. And we were talking about, I remember this one conversation, Moser mentioned something about an 8 count, and James writes on the paper, you know, I'll be damned if I ever learned what an 8 count is. And I looked at him, and I just tapped the table, 8 times in a rhythm, and he wrote on the notepad, "I'll be damned," or "Guess I'm damned," or something. I was like, it's really exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know the microphone situation.
For me, yeah, thank God for Mr. Yaps. Oh my goodness. He made it as easy as possible for that scene. Because there's 28 mics I'm dealing with at once. And you're all on stage at once and you're all together. And then the mics are like bouncing off of each other. And that's when you get like feedback. That high sound you hear in the speakers. But he made it as easy as possible. Thank you, Mr. Yaps, so much for that scene. But usually when I'm doing the whiz, I would be sitting back, eating, even singing and dancing with you guys on stage in the corner because I'm chilling throughout the show. But when that scene starts, as soon as they take up the rope, as soon as they hear the rope hit the mic on their forehead, I'm like, uh-oh. And then I stand up and I'm like, okay, here we go. But yeah, that scene is a little tricky. Yeah, and then you're dealing with some people backstage because you have the singers backstage, and then you have everyone's dancing, and then there's a part where I get to take a little break when you're all just, there's no singing and you're just dancing, you're like running around the stage. But yeah, that scene was a bit tricky. But hey, we got it done.
Yeah, we did.
Let's see. What keeps you coming back to theater? What keeps you like wanting to do it again and again and again? It's like a very long process, and we do it all the time, and it is stressful. I've seen a lot of crash outs, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Literally blood, sweat, and tears. But we come back every single time, and we always put on a good performance. So, what keeps you coming back to the theater?
Yeah. It's theater. I still don't really see myself as a theater kid. I never grew up with it. Never really listened to musicals. It wasn't a big part of my life. But I think it can best be encapsulated by the phrase that I've heard from many, is that once you get involved with the Stepinac production, you never leave. You really never leave. I started with The Wiz, and I did it, and I wasn't really sure if I'd ever come back to drama. I did it was okay, and then right during the show, right before the show dates, I was like, it's okay, maybe I won't come back, it's alright. But then it came after, and then I really started to be able to see the community that had formed because of it. Being able to build these relationships with people that are so real, because you spend so much time with these people over the last 2-3 months in close proximity, singing, dancing, working together. And that is really what kept me in it, was just seeing just the emotional connection. I'm a big emotional person. I care a lot about emotions and relationships and these kind of things. That's what I put the most value over. And so seeing said relationships take place here meant so much to me. Even I remember very specifically I think this was the same day that they did the cast awards that you guys are familiar with, where the cast and crew give out awards to the underclassmen. And it was that same day. And then it was after after we had parted ways, the cast went up onto the stage to do our sort of, I mean, you guys might have been there too, but we did our last words that day.
Yeah, everyone does that.
Yeah, so we were all together. And we're all there. And so everybody's like a little teary, everybody's saying these nice things. I remember Jonathan Guzman, he had brought a small JBL speaker and placed it on share on the stage, and then started playing like the saddest songs imaginable while everybody was saying goodbye. And it immediately became a 20 to 30 minute just crying fest between everybody. Even I was crying, and I didn't even talk to many people. There were people that I talked to maybe 3 times during that whole show that I was hugging and crying with, just because we were all there, and you were all like feeling the same emotion of just, I'm gonna miss these people. We had already gone through this insanely exhausting experience, and now it was over. And so it was a mix of feelings of just looking back at this amazing show we put on and the effort we put in, knowing that there were so many seniors that year that we're never going to see again, or at least we won't for a long time. And then also just, these are your friends. These are the memories you're going to remember. And so I think that is at its core what kept me, was that moment was the day that I realized I was never going to leave this drama program until I graduate. Was just that day, those emotions that everybody felt. That meant a lot to me, and that's what keeps me going.
Yeah,
No, Jack, what about you?
Me?
I feel like this is a good question in general.
That was a good question. Mine is basically the same thing as Carter, but it was for Catch Me If You Can. When we were done with Catch Me If You Can, we went, instead of on the stage, we went downstairs to the basement right over there, and we were sitting on the green tarp thing, and we were all huddled around. It was like sitting in the grass, but we were losing, I think, 21 people that day, and it was our last chance to say goodbye. The one for Jersey Boys, I really didn't like see it as like an emotional thing. I thought it was just something we did, and then it was like, okay, we bye, see you.
Yeah.
But for Catch If You Can, it was different. It was the first time I felt like, oh, we're actually losing these people, and these people are not gonna work with us again, and we're not gonna be in the same room again. And we're all huddled together, and we're all like sitting crisscross applesauce, we're eating snacks, eating donuts, and one by one, the seniors started saying their goodbye speeches. They started putting the trust of Stage Shoot into like Richie and I and James, and we're starting to get the the roles of like leadership. And when they started to say goodbye, I started to realize that time is not really on your side, and it's short, and it's you have to like you can't take advantage of it. You have to like live the moments, and you have to like make the most of it. That's also why I started the Instagram page, so I could record those memories and make sure that we have it even after we leave. So yeah, I when I started to realize that these people are leaving, I made the Instagram the third performance of Catch If You Can. I was like, yeah, it's almost over. And yeah, I had to make sure like I want to come back to these same people, these same groups of people, the people with the same interests as me, and who work with work in a team with me, and like we could share like same things that we love. And this only happens at the theater and in that auditorium. So that's what keeps bringing me back every single year, even though it's so stressful and all the stuff we have to do, all the heavy lifting, all the work we have to do. But I will do it again and again and again to have those moments happen again and again and again. So yeah, that's why I keep coming back.
And I feel like another like big difference between doing Jersey Boys and like the Jersey Boys final words and the Catch Me final words is that, I mean, we love those guys, Jason and Ryan Parnaga, Ralph, Chris, yeah. But we didn't know them as much, as we did then. Anthony and Paul and Tyler and Antonio. These are the people that we had more time to build connections with, and them leaving hit a lot heavier than last year. I mean, some of the people I consider to be like my closest friends graduated, and I was like, no, what do I do without you guys? I think for me, probably after. Now, you know what it was? It was when we went on stage to do bows for Jersey Boys. That was when I was like, yeah, okay, this is pretty fun. I like this.
That was cool.
This is cool. That was a feeling of just the adrenaline, and also it feels good to be recognized for, even if there's going to be some people who are only there because their friend or relative is in cast, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess the crew's important too, but whatever. But there's a good amount of people who recognize just how much we put into it, and I feel like for most of those people, it's still a moment of, oh yeah, yeah, these guys, the crew. But then you really sit down and think about it, and I hope that a lot of people come to the conclusion of recognizing just how much we put into everything. And I've always hated the argument of who do you think does more between the cast and the crew, because you can't compare it. I would argue it's the same amount of labor in general, but then, okay, if you want to separate it into physical labor, yeah, okay, there's a ton more heavy lifting in crew than there is cast, but then you also consider, would you consider all the dancing and stuff physical labor? So it's really everyone deserves equal amounts of their time in the spotlight. at the end of the day, of course, some roles are going to be bigger than others, but at the end of the day, everyone deserves their flowers, and that's just honest. Everyone really puts in the same amount of effort most of the time.
Yeah, I think just last thing you said there, everybody deserves their flowers, I think is such a true thing. I remember a really, really close friend of mine, don't know if she's gonna ever listen to this, but she had come to see me perform at our last show of 12 Angry Men. Um, and she even showed up late, but she really wanted to come see, and so I was already sad about it, and then I had walked out, to go see my mom, and I wasn't even sure if she was still there, and I go out, and she was there, and she had flowers for me, and it was one of, like, I think my happiest moments, just because even though I was only in the show in the first minute, about a minute, I was the first person on stage for about 30 seconds to a minute, and she didn't even get to see it because she was late, but she still had brought the flower, and that was honestly, I think, one of my, that was might actually be my favorite moment, is just that feeling of recognition, especially from someone you care about, like, is one of, I think, the most special feelings that comes with it. And I think that you're right, Richie. Everybody does deserve their flowers, even if you're in crew.
Yeah. Let's see. If Mr. Portano gave you the power to pick any show for your senior year is next year, what would you choose to do?
It's a good question. I mean, if I could literally choose any show with no repercussions. I mean, again, I've only been getting into musicals somewhat recently. I don't know a lot of them. I mean, there's some that I enjoy. I mean, as we've kind of talked about before, I know we talked about this last episode, Beetlejuice would be such a fun show to do. It wouldn't be easy, but I know, like, it would honestly look amazing. Like, I know that we could do an amazing job. I know we also talked about Heathers would be so fun. I know we don't really have the cast for it, but I got to see that off Broadway recently, and that was amazing. What would be so cool, and this isn't even a musical, is Stranger Things on Broadway would be so sick, because I got to see that one as well, and that I was just blown away by that. It is really, sorry, I'm just being a little distracted by some people in the window in front of me.
For context, some of our friends have found the outside window, and they're just messing up and done now. Okay.
They're having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think that one would be so fun because there's a decent amount of acting in that. I think that the whole concept of body doubles is so cool that they do. The effects are just amazing.
Yeah.
That would be a really fun, high caliber show that we could do. Especially since I don't know a lot of musicals. That would be amazing.
That would be a tech dream come true and nightmare at the same time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think we got time for two or three more.
Okay.
Yeah.
What type of shows do you prefer? Are you like evening shows, or doing it at night, or do you like it when we're doing it during like the day, like our 5 shows, like our Sunday shows? We do like 2:00.
It's called a matinee.
Yeah, matinee. That's another one. I mean, it's definitely nice to do the evening ones because you get more of your day, and then you go for call at maybe 4:00, get ready to have your show. Although I do think the matinees sometimes work nice because you get a bigger crowd and you get some of the families and some. It really depends on the show. Like for The Wiz, I think that the matinee is best because The Wiz is a very family show. Maybe not the show itself, but the way that we adapted it was a very much family friendly show, and I think that a matinee for that makes sense because it really helped us sell out the theater. Yes, getting there maybe a little bit earlier wasn't as fun. I like sleeping in, especially when you're so exhausted, but it wasn't bad. But then I think for maybe some of our other shows, getting there at night when it's already dark, like it's there's a vibe to it, a setting that you almost set for yourself. When it's dark out, you go in for an evening show, like. So yeah, I guess it both in a way. It depends on the show. It depends on the day. Like
I have a really funny, I think, take on that, and it's that I love the Friday shows when we're coming off of a school day because I don't know what it is about it. It's something with the vibes and just the feeling in the air of how everyone's already kind of exhausted from the school day. So we go to Roosters or Domingos or something, and we grab a couple of energy drinks, and then we just lock in for another
For 5 hours, 6 hours, maybe more. And same goes for the tech days, honestly.
oh yeah.
there's just something about it where everyone's just kind of, and it goes either way. Sometimes people are having the, oh my god, this day sucked and now I have to do this. But other times it's like you're coming off of a great day and your morale is at its all-time peak. And honestly, for me, sometimes I've found that coming off of a bad day, I really look forward to going and doing tech or going and doing the show because I know at some place I'm confident and I know what I'm doing and I know I can get stuff done the way I want to.
No, yeah, I think that's definitely fair. And now that you bring that up, I realize, like doing those shows can actually, you're right, it is nice. I mean, I can definitely attest to the fact that while you'll hear the, oh my God, I just had a horrible day and I have to go do this. The actors we love to complain about that. That's whenever we love to complain, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like, I got no sleep. Like, that's what we hate it, but we do enjoy complaining about that. And I think the other thing too, about having a show, especially on a school day, and I remember this very vividly from when I was in Outsiders, air quotes there, was the idea that you got through the school day and you knew that there was going to be some people or just one person that you knew you would get to see at the end of the day that got you through. You're like, today sucks, but at least I'll get to see this person, or, at least I'll get to hang out with these people that maybe you don't have classes with or you don't go to school with. And you get to be, oh, now I get to see my friends in another setting. And so it's just getting through the day almost. It helps you get through it. So that's a lot, and that works with rehearsals as well as the shows.
Yeah.
I asked Jonathan Guzman a question for The Wiz, and I was like, Jonathan, how do you remember your lines? He told me that, oh, this is a while ago. This might be a little inaccurate, but this is the best I'm gonna do. He says it basically shows up in front of him like paragraphs, and he's like reading it. How do you remember your lines?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've had the most lines I've had in my life was maybe a paragraph or two.
Okay.
So I can't say that I've really gotten to experience what it's like to have to memorize lines. For me, it was just memorizing it, repetition over again, saying it, reading it, saying it in my head, saying it out loud over and over and over again. And then there's the concept of cues, where it's just like the things that you see. Like if I'm in a room and I've been practicing it in that room, like look, I'll see something. Oh, that reminds me what the line is. And there's this other thing too, where I find that this works a lot with music. Where if you start playing a song, if you say, "Oh, what are the lyrics to this song?" Even if it's my favorite song, I couldn't write them out for you right now. But the second you start playing the song, it's like they just start floating into my head one after another. I could even be in the middle of singing it. Being in chorus, I'm so used to singing too. I could be in the middle of singing a line and I can't even think about what the next line is. But once I finish my own, the next one just comes to me like that. And so if I had to imagine what it was like to memorize lines, that's, I think, what it would be like. It's just knowing it so well that it just flows to you over and over again. Like you don't even know what's coming next, but it's gonna come.
Okay. That's cool. Because I'm always like, I want to see like different ways how people like notice like their lines.
And it's funny you mentioned how you kind of have like your own cues or stuff, because that's literally how the tech side of stuff works too, at least with anything that falls under the order of James saying go, which would be, lights, maybe some external effects, like the smoke machines and stuff that we've had were usually a go cue. But especially in my case, even when I was doing spotlights, when Tyler was calling the show, it got to points where I could just recognize what's going on. It's like, all right, yeah, I have to do my thing now. Or I have to change the scene here, which also comes with just the repetition of doing it during Tech Week and especially Hell Week, when that's all you're doing. It's just you're just performing the show to an empty theater over and over again. But yeah, no, that's kind of cool. There's a little bit of a parallel there for otherwise two very different.
Yeah, we rely on your cues much more than you might think. It honestly helps so much with memorization and knowing what to do. Really comes down to that well-oiled machine. But that's the thing, it requires all of us to work together at once.
Yeah. Let's see. I know, let's see. Mr. Cordova, like, gives you directions, I know, and then you have to, like, follow the script. But, like, for your characters, or for, like, even not just your character, for, the other characters the cast plays, how much creative freedom do you guys have? Outside of, like, do this, stick to the script, and do, so how much, like, creative freedom do you guys have?
You know, I understand. I get that. You know, it's difficult to say. Yes, there will be the time, especially I think the easiest way for me to think about this would be to go back to 12 Angry Men and looking back less at how my lines are and more how my friends work, since for that show, because I only had a paragraph in the beginning that we weren't even sure if I was going to have to memorize or not, I went to the rehearsals, but I would just sub in for whoever was absent. So if there was 3 people absent, like jurors 2, 4, and 6, I would read for jurors 2, 4, and 6. But yeah, anyway, so I would see how Portnovo talks to the rest of them, and so it's very much like you have to say your lines, and you have to fit within the realm of the situation and the character. Like, you have to fit your character, so you have to say how they would say it and how they would in that situation. So in terms of that, there's not a lot of creative freedom, but like a lot of times with songs, the way you pronounce the words, you're allowed to do it how you want. You know, sometimes with how you pronounce some of the words, you're allowed to do it how you want. Your accents, that's definitely a creative thing. I'm curious to see how they're going to do that with this, because I know Dan Romero in 12 Angry Men got to do his European accent. I'm not 100% sure which one it was, but he got to do his own accent. That was a bit more of creativeness on his part.
Sounded Eastern European.
Yeah, I could definitely. This show, I'm curious, because this is a very accent-heavy show. I don't know if they're even gonna embrace the accents whatsoever. I know I can do some. I think my Irish accent is probably the best, because I've talked to Irish people all the time. I have a lot of Irish friends who like live in Dublin, and that's how they speak, so I'm used to that. I'm curious to see how they do that in Come From Away, because all these characters have a variety of whether it's Middle Eastern or Canadian or Irish or British or American or Texan. Like, there's so many different ones. So I'm curious. We're gonna see how that unfolds.
Yeah. All right. So I know you're probably gonna have to get ready. Because are you auditioning today?
Luckily I'm not. You know, I was able to. Well, I ended up doing a video. You know, I'm currently like still battling some sickness, and yesterday I was good enough. I wasn't sure I was gonna feel today, or especially tomorrow. Coming into school, having sung my song for auditions since the night before at 10 in the morning. You know, I knew tomorrow wasn't gonna be great. Today I was busy, so I was like, you know what, I'll do a video. And I was able to do that from the comfort of my local coach's room. And practice that one. So I was able to do it then, but I know a lot of them are probably out there right now singing or stressing about it. Yeah, they're definitely still doing that. I think it goes till 6 today, so I don't know how long this is going to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The auditions are going on as we speak right now. That's so cool. They're doing auditions right now. But I have one final question for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
If you can describe all your friends, all the cast, in just one word, what would it be?
That's a hard one, because there's a lot of different people. I'm sure you have some answers. There's a lot. Everybody there is very different. But in terms of just cast, I think the best way to put it is dedicated. They're all, everybody here, except for maybe a handful of people that I and some others might feel that aren't there, and they're not dedicated, and they're just showing up for God knows why.
Just put it on their resume.
Exactly. I think that there's almost everybody there is there because they're dedicated to put on the show. You know, they show up, they meet at these ungodly times, whether it's in the morning or at night. We're there, we're practicing at home. Some of us maybe, some of us not. I don't, but that's besides the point. It's that we're showing up at these times, and we're there to put on the show and really do our best. And that's what I think that's at least all of my friends and what most of the crew is, the crew, cast, everybody. We're dedicated. That's what we are. That's the best word to describe it.
Yeah. Dedication.
I feel bad about my answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good episode, guys. Thank you, Carter.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Of course, we would have you back anytime. Anytime you want, come back. We'll interview you again and again and again. I am your host, Chandler Edwards, and the co-host,
Richie Fiakovic.
And thank you guys for watching Intermission, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Later.